Hello, my friend. Welcome to your sleep story. My name is Stephen Dalton. I'm an Irish storyteller, and it's my great privilege to be the voice that you listen to as you go to sleep tonight. Tonight, it's a different kind of story. Something I haven't done before. I will imagine that I am a time traveler, and I will tell you about an experience I have going back to Florence in the medieval times on a rainy day. It's a very simple observational story, allowing you to see into a world long gone. I really hope you like this one. But first, let's do the relaxation session, which will take a few minutes before tonight's sleep story. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and as I do, allow yourself to let go more and more. 10. Feel the support of the bed beneath you, or the floor, or whatever you lie upon tonight. And beneath what you lie upon, feel a deeper support. The support of the earth, our home, our constant support. And as you become aware of that support, see if you can sink into this moment a little more now. Just let go. A little more now. 9. You are safe. Allow my voice to be an anchor of safety tonight. To be a friend, to be a gentle guide, a guide that only ever brings you to safe places, to warm and cozy places, to places that enable and support your sleep. Trust that my voice is a friend tonight. Eight. Feel into your body now. Notice where you might still be holding tonight. Notice where you may have pain or tingling or tension. Notice anything. Maybe you feel something in your feet or in your lower legs or your thighs or your belly, your chest, shoulders, arms, hands. Or maybe you're like me and you hold tension in your face. Just see if you can soften a little now. This is a time for kindness to yourself and to your body. Seven. The day is done. Whatever has been, has been. Whatever will be, will be. But right now, all you have is this moment. Your thoughts can't change what has gone before. Your thoughts can't change what will come tomorrow. Your brain needs rest now. So, as thoughts come and go now, don't fight them. Don't chase them away. See them for what they are. Thoughts. Then just watch them go, like leaves floating away on a moonlit river, or clouds passing through a starlit sky. Six. This is your moment. This is your time. You have earned this moment of kindness to yourself. You deserve to have peace in your life. We all do. So, as you become aware of that fact, as you come to the understanding that we all deserve peace, see if you can settle into this moment a little more now, letting your body know that it's really time for rest. Five. Peace lives within you. It is a constant friend, waiting to be found, waiting to be felt. Where does it live within you? Maybe it's in your heart. Maybe it's in your head. It's up to you to find it. But I promise you it's there. Four. Perhaps allow a little gratitude now. Gratitude for the simple things, for your body, for the shelter you have tonight, for the ones you love and who love you, for the beauty and wonder of this world, of this planet, that you can find when you look for it. Three, begin to engage with your imagination now. Begin to see a rainy city a long, long time ago. The people look the same as you might see today, but they're wearing different clothes and doing different things, and you're about to learn a lot more about them in this place, far away from all that you know. 2. Checking in with your body one more time now. Finding the places you are holding still, and allowing yourself to give in, to allow the tension to ease away. Your body has worked hard for you today. It's time to give it rest. And 1, completely letting go now, as I tell you tonight's sleep story. When I step out of the machine, the sound that greets me first is the rain. Not the soft modern kind you hear with cars hushing by on wet asphalt. This rain hits hard-packed dirt and uneven stone, splashing mud onto wool hems and raw wooden doors. It turns the narrow street into a glossy ribbon of brown and grey. It echoes differently between buildings built too close together, where upper floors lean inward, as if gossiping across the gap. This is Florence, somewhere around the year 1320. I know it from the way the walls look. Raw, rough stone, pale where fresh, dark where smoke has settled. I know it from the absence of chimneys, from the wet smell of tannery runoff and wool dye drifting low in the evening air, from the sound of church bells ringing across the city at slightly mismatched intervals, and from the voices, Tuscan but older, sharper, with vowels that haven't yet softened into what modern Italian sounds like. My umbrella snaps open above me. It's the only modern object in sight. Everything else belongs to a century that never imagined stitching whalebone or steel ribs into a portable shelter. But it fits oddly. People glance at it, curious, maybe amused, but not suspicious. Medieval Florence is used to foreign merchants, Greeks, Venetians, Germans, Jews, Lombards, French pilgrims, and they all bring odd things with them. One more strange object won't break the world. The street I'm on is narrow, too narrow for carts, just foot traffic, men in hooded cloaks, women carrying baskets, children darting through puddles. The buildings are tall and uneven, the upper floors jutting out on wooden beams, racing toward each other, like they're trying to bridge the gap. In this time, Florence has about 100,000 people, one of the largest cities in medieval Europe. More people than London, more than Paris. Wealthy, crowded, ambitious, divided by politics so violently simple that half the men passing me probably hate the other half for reasons I would need a book to untangle. The rain makes everything shine. I start walking. The first thing I notice as I move through the street is the smell of wet wool. It clings to coats and cloaks, hangs like a second skin on everyone who passes. Leather mixes in too. New leather, oiled leather, soaked leather, and beneath that, the deep, unmistakable smell of firewood smoke, rising from hearths behind shuttered windows. Somewhere nearby, someone is roasting chestnuts. Somewhere else, someone is boiling dye. Florence is famous for wool. The city exports tens of thousands of pieces of cloth a year, and the guilds that control it run half the politics. Everywhere I turn, I see it. Bundles of wool under awnings, bales stacked near shop fronts, vats steaming in courtyards. A man brushes past me with a large wrapped bundle on his back. I know what's in it. Unfinished cloth being carried from one workshop to another. Because medieval production is never all in one place. One man spins, another dyes, a third fulls it, a fourth presses it. Division of labor, centuries before anyone will give that phrase a name. I lift my umbrella slightly as a boy sprints past, bare feet splashing water onto my boots. He glances back once, a grin breaking across his mud-smeared face, and I can't help smiling too. Some things don't change. Kids run in the rain, no matter what century they're born into. The street widens as I walk downhill toward the river, the Arno. There's a reason Florence is here, and it's not the gold florins, though those help later. It's the river. It powers mills, carries dye, moves goods, and twice every generation it destroys everything. I know that in 1333, only a decade or so after this moment, the river will flood very badly, and whole bridges will disappear. Tonight, though, it's calm, rain-speckled, reflective, a long ribbon of darkness between rows of stone. A woman stands under a wooden awning near the riverfront, holding a basket of figs covered with a cloth. She watches the water as if waiting for someone. Her face is lined, but her posture is straight. She has lived through things the world will never write down, just like everyone here. I walk past her, toward the bridge, Ponte Vecchio. It's not the one tourists know today, with jewelry shops and quaint shutters. This one is raw. Wooden shops hang precariously over the edges, propped up on beams that look far too thin to trust. The rain hits the slanted wooden roofs of the shops like fingers tapping a drum. I pause at the middle of the bridge. From here, I can see Florence in full. Tall towers belonging to noble families. Florence is full of towers, built not for beauty, but for defense, because medieval elites wage their feuds vertically. Some towers are half demolished. The government has ordered most to be cut down, so rival families stop throwing rocks at each other. Behind them rise church domes, not yet Brunelleschi's dome, not yet that impossible feat of engineering, but the smaller apses and bell towers of Santa Croce, Santa Maria Novella, and the old baptistry with its green and white marble stripes. The Duomo itself is still unfinished, a massive skeleton of stone with no roof, waiting for someone born 100 years from now to solve the impossible. I stand there, leaning on the wet wooden rail of the old bridge, watching rain blur the lantern lights across the city. And something hits me. Not nostalgia, not sentiment, recognition. I keep walking after the bridge, moving into a district of workshops. You can tell a workshop from a house by the noise. Even through the rain, I hear the steady beating of hammers, the rasping of files, the thud-thud rhythm of cloth being fulled in a vat. Light spills from ground floor openings. No glass windows here, just wooden shutters thrown open during work hours. Inside, men shape metal, carve wood, dye fabric. Girls wind thread onto spools. Boys carry scraps or hold tools for older craftsmen. Guilds regulate everything. In my time, the word guild sounds quaint, a footnote. But here, guilds are the engine of the city. They decide wages, settle disputes, inspect wool quality, sponsor bridges, and pave roads. They also determine politics. Only guild members can serve in government. In a way, Florence in this era is the closest Europe gets to a city run by organized labor, even if they'd never use that phrase. A blacksmith glances up as I pass, rain dripping from the edge of my umbrella. His eyes linger a moment on the strange shape of it. I give a small nod. He returns one, then goes back to hammering the glowing piece of metal on his anvil. The street climbs uphill toward the center. Soon, stone gives way to something grander. A square, large, open, paved with uneven flagstones, polished by centuries of footsteps. Piazza della Signoria. Before I enter it fully, I pause under a stone archway, watching. Even in the rain, the square is alive. Merchants huddle under awnings, trying to keep their cloth dry. A pair of servants rush toward the Palazzo Vecchio, carrying a covered basket, mud splashing their legs. A horse snorts and shakes rain from its mane as its rider dismounts near the entrance of a tavern. and looming over all of it is the Palazzo Vecchio, new, imposing, its tower stabbing into the wet sky. This fortress city hall is where Florence governs itself. Inside, guild representatives meet. Laws get written. Factions argue fiercely enough to shake the walls. The Guelphs and the Ghibellines, Popolo Grazzo and Popolo Minuto, families whose names will appear in history books. But standing here, I realize how close everything is to collapsing into chaos. The tension is in the air, like static. Yet people keep living. An elderly woman with a cane hobbles across the square, hood pulled low, determined not to slip on the wet stone. The boy tries to get a stray dog to follow him. A young woman laughs as she runs under a dripping awning, holding the edges of her dress up to keep the hem clean. I step out from under the arch and into the rain. It feels good on my face. Cold, metallic, alive. I let it hit my cheeks, even under the umbrella. I walk slowly, savoring the shape of the square beneath my boots. To think, right here, in this exact space, so many things will happen over the centuries. Celebrations, ceremonies, and the stones will remember all of it. Time folds weirdly in a place like this. A group of men stands under a small loggia, arguing heatedly. Their hands move fast. Italians haven't changed that part. I catch fragments of what they're saying. Wool prices. A shipment stuck near Pisa. Some dispute between guilds that's threatening to turn ugly. Their accents are thick, their clothes soaked at the edges. One of them has ink-stained fingers. Another has the rough, cracked hands of someone who dyes cloth for a living. They fall silent for a moment as I walk past, eyeing my unusual clothing. But they say nothing. Strangers are normal in this city. Florence thrives on strangers. Traders, bankers, mercenaries, pilgrims. A man who looks out of place rarely draws suspicion. He draws curiosity. I pass them, and continue toward the sound of splashing. A fountain. It's crude by modern standards. Just a stone trough fed by a pipe that drips more than it flows. But fresh water in a medieval city is life. People fill jugs. Children drink directly from the pipe. A man washes his hands. Clean water is precious here, and not guaranteed. Rivers at this time rely heavily on aqueducts and cisterns. I crouch by the fountain, letting the rain mix with the trickle of water, and splash some on my face. A child watches me with open curiosity. "E freddo?" she asks. "Un po'," I answer softly, which means a little. She grins and returns to filling her clay cup. I leave the square and take a side street. The rain is heavier now. I can feel it in the vibrations of the umbrella handle. The gutter beside the street carries a small river of brown water downhill. Bits of straw swirling in the current. The buildings grow taller here. Narrower streets, fewer shops, more houses. Wooden shutters clatter faintly in the wind. From an open doorway, warmth spills out. A tavern. Inside, low voices, firelight flickering, the smell of wood smoke, wine, wet wool, and roasted onions. I stand in the doorway a moment, just inside the threshold, letting the heat touch my hands. The tavern keeper glances my way, but doesn't question me. People come and go freely in a place like this. Hospitality is currency. At a small table, two young men are bent over a sheet of parchment. One traces something with a quill. The other nods, biting his lip. I can't see the drawing well, but I recognize the shape. A simple architectural plan. Measurements, angles. Florence is filled with builders, stonemasons, woodworkers, people who will set the stage, quite literally, for the birth of Renaissance architecture. They don't know that. They just know that roofs leak, walls shift, and the city pays well for craftsmen who can build something that lasts. man plays a lute softly in the corner. The melody is simple, repetitive, hypnotic. People in this room have never heard a symphony, never heard a recording, never heard a full choir, except in church. Their music is raw, close, personal. You don't listen to music here. You sit inside it. I step back out into the rain. The streets rise again, curving toward a hill. On instinct, I follow them. The city feels different at this height. Quieter. The smell shifts. More wet stone. Wealthier houses. Bigger windows. Large wooden doors with iron studs. Shuttered balconies. And then, emerging from behind a row of houses, Santa Croce, the Franciscan church, stands pale and solemn in the rain. It's not yet the ornate marble facade that modern tourists know. In this moment in history, it's simpler, rougher, but no less imposing. I walk toward it, boots slipping a little on the wet stone. People gather under the portico, sheltering from the rain. A monk in a soaked brown robe speaks quietly to a woman holding a small bundle. Food, perhaps, or a child. The monk hands her something. She bows. He bows back. Franciscans take poverty seriously. In this city of wool merchants and bankers, they stand as a reminder that wealth is temporary and charity is not. I hear prayers inside the church, low, monotone, rhythmic. I could go in. The smell of incense mixes with the rain coming through the open doorway. But the street beyond calls to me more. I move on. Florence is a maze of alleys and squares, but every path eventually leads to the same heart. The unfinished cathedral. I come out into the open space with no warning. One turn. One narrow passage. And suddenly, the world expands around me. the rain falls harder here. The open sky above the vast stone walls, offering no shelter. And there it is, Santa Maria del Fiore, the foundation of what will become one of the most remarkable buildings in human history. But right now, in this moment, it is strange and incomplete. The walls are high, the marble stripes clear even in the grey light. But where the dome should be, where the great curve of Brunelleschi will someday stand, there is only a vast circular emptiness. Wooden scaffolding, canvas tarps flapping in the wind, rainwater cascading down unfinished surfaces. People walk quickly around the square, heads down. A man leads a donkey laden with sacks. A woman sells roasted chestnuts under a dripping canopy. A group of children chase each other, kicking a leather ball through puddles. I stand still, letting the rain wash over the silence that falls in me. Because I know what this place will become. I know how this gap in the sky will be closed by a man not yet born, who will reinvent lost Roman engineering without realizing he's reinventing it. I know how this city will blaze through art and science and political madness. I know names none of these people I see before me will ever hear. Michelangelo, Galileo, Machiavelli, and how they'll shape the world. But Florence doesn't know. Not yet. Tonight, it's just a city in the rain. A city of wool and stone and smoke. A city already beautiful, even without the masterpiece it will become. And seeing it like this, raw, fragile, alive, does something to me. The rain softens. The square glows in the lantern light. I start walking again, letting my feet pick the direction. Down narrow steps, worn crooked by centuries. past a bakery whose warm air hits my face like a soft hand, across a small stone bridge with no railings, through a street so dark the rain seems to whisper rather than fall, and eventually back toward where the machine waits. In this last stretch, something happens. People begin to look at each other more. The rain makes them cluster under archways, share awnings, trade nods. Strangers who might barely notice one another in daylight now stand close, shoulder to shoulder, united by weather and the need to stay dry. Humanity, I realize, doesn't change. Not in Florence, not in any century, not in the rain. A man with a limp waves a younger passer-by under his awning. A woman shares the edge of her cloak with her daughter. Two men carrying heavy sacks help each other adjust the load. A cat shakes itself and immediately finds a dry doorstep where someone has left scraps. Connection isn't a luxury here. It's survival. And yet it's soft, human, warm in a way no future invention could replace. I turn the last corner. The small yard behind the wooden gate is dark and quiet. The machine sits where I left it, beaded with rain. Faint humming, masked by the steady patter on the canopy of its shell. I close my umbrella. Drops scatter over the ground. Before I step inside, I take one last look at the street. The wet stone, the lantern glow, the uneven rooftops, the distant echo of a lute. The smell of rain mixed with wool and fire and bread. The soft murmur of a city that thinks it knows itself, not realizing it is on the brink of becoming something the world will never forget. I breathe it in, long and slow. This moment, these people, this rain. Then I step into the machine, seal the door, and let time fold back around me. Florence fades, but what it gave me doesn't. Not the facts, not the architecture, not the history books coming to life. The humanity. People surviving rain together in a city made of stone and hope. Some truths don't need centuries to travel. I carry them with me as the machine hums and the medieval world lets go.